It's the last day here in Mexico, and I'm just taking in the view. This is not, however, the last video from Mexico. Also, the dogs that live above our Airbnb are chilling on the balcony. No railing. This is not the last video from here in Mexico, but you can probably see in my eyes how tired I am because we've had a very eventful, very fun last couple days. So tomorrow you'll see the last video from this trip, which has been incredible. So much fun. So please, I know some of you only like to click on my videos when there's like something negative or critical of Niantic in the title. Tomorrow may or may not be titled that way, but come watch the video tomorrow. Anyway, let's talk today. Today we're going to start with an announcement. Community Day Classic. We had one in January for Bulbasaur. Niantic referenced that in their recent Stuffle Community Day announcement, citing that people said that players seemed to be out more because it was only 3 hours, so we're having another one. We'll get into that, but first, the announcement. Community Day Classic Memories of Mudkip on Sunday, April 10th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. Mudkip Community Day. And again, I don't really have a problem with Community Day Classic because it's a free event. It doesn't take the place of our regular April Community Day. So we're still getting Stuffle. And then if you want to, there's also going to be a Mudkip Community Day that you can participate in. And honestly, I missed the first Mudkip Community Day because I was in Yellowstone and there was so much traffic from like an accident that I spent half of it in the car and then the other half of it with no cell service. So I might actually get to catch a few shiny Mudkip for myself. Mudkip will appear more frequently in the wild. If you're lucky, you might encounter a shiny one. Swampert will learn Hydro Cannon if you evolve it during the event or up to 2 hours afterwards. And again, that is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, April 10th. Hydro Cannon, very strong move. Swampert with Hydro Cannon is a very good Pokemon across pretty much every league in GBL, so definitely useful. There's also going to be a $1 special research story, and triple catch XP. Other bonuses include incense lasting for 3 hours, but still only spawning Pokemon once every 5 minutes if you're not moving. Lure modules activated during the event will last for 3 hours, and you can take snapshots for a surprise, more Mudkip spawns. There's going to be a box in the shop for 850 Pokecoins, which will include an Elite Fast TM, which is weird because the move for Mudkip Community Day is a charge move. So that's the thing, but really what I want to talk about today is Community Day. Well, it's not Community Day. It's related because there's a lot of I think a lot of people are unhappy with Niantic's decision to go back to 3 hours for Community Day, and I totally understand. I completely understand it. We've been talking about it a lot here between me, Steven, Pello, other Pokemon GO players that we've just met and talked to. And I mean, for me personally, I think obviously I have such a flexible schedule when it comes to playing Pokemon GO that of course I get to play the entire 6 hours if I want to. Most of the time. I think, to me it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't affect me all that much. But there are a lot of people in the community who are impacted by this. People who obviously work or have responsibilities, have to take care of kids or, whatever it is. A 6 hour window just gives you more of an opportunity to play at your pace. And what Niantic is trying to encourage by shrinking the time window down to 3 hours is to just get people playing at the same time. They're trying to bring communities back together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as a goal, but I don't know if the shortened Community Day hours is the best way to do it. There have been a few solutions suggested, like having the Pokemon spawn all day, but then have like a 3 hour window where shiny rate is boosted more, There's extra bonuses like the triple catch XP or whatever it is, but still allow people to catch that Pokemon throughout the day with maybe like a slightly increased shiny rate. And I think that's one potential good idea, because then that gives you a lot of time to participate in the event, but also a 3-hour window where, you know, it's the best time to meet up with your community. I've also seen a suggestion of having a ticket or an item that gives you access to Community Day, and you can choose when you start your 3-hour window. And I mean, that is probably the most convenient way to do it, if everyone could just choose a 3-hour window to have boosted spawns and shiny rates and bonuses. But I feel like the problem with that is then it's no longer Community Day. It's that in that situation, it's more of a play by yourself whenever you want day. You can definitely coordinate with your community in that situation, but the event format itself doesn't necessarily necessitate that. But whatever the solution ends up being, I don't think just taking time away is the best way to go about it. That being said, I think there is a bigger problem. Niantic's trying to get communities back together, and shortening Community Day is their way of trying to do that, on Community Day at least. But I think the biggest culprit, the biggest factor, the biggest contributor to communities, in-person communities fading, dying out, is remote raids. People, I think, used to meet up weekly, daily, to do raids together. And since remote raid passes were introduced to the game, it's so much easier to just sit at home and join a raid remotely. Get invited to a raid by someone who's not even at the gym, who's also raiding remotely. And that, I think, is the biggest problem, the biggest contributor to the lack of community in Pokemon Go right now. And that is going to be obviously a very difficult thing to fix. And I'm curious, I want to know how everyone out there feels about Niantic not removing, but kind of walking back and nerfing remote raid passes a little bit like they initially said they were going to. Honestly, I'm honestly scared to see what the community reaction is going to be when Niantic does start making those changes to remote raids. And again, I'd like to know how people feel about it. How do you feel about it happening? Because again, like I said, I really think they are the biggest contributing factor in the death of local communities. People don't have to meet up anymore. I think more so than Community Day, people were meeting each other at raids. I've heard so many stories throughout the years, obviously pre-pandemic, of people going to a raid in their city and running into other people who were doing that raid. And that was their first introduction to other players. And then as far as Community Day goes, I think that local communities would kind of decide on a park, and community leaders would kind of host meetups with their entire community, a lot of whom met each other doing raids. And obviously, if you're raiding remotely, you just don't have that chance to run into people and meet. And it's complicated because remote raids, incense working better, 6-hour Community Day, all of these things have done so much for accessibility in Pokemon Go, which has always been something that the game has struggled with. The real-world nature of the game presents so many more accessibility issues than you'd have with traditional video games, and that's always been a problem for Pokemon Go. And now that we've had these changes to accommodate during the last 2 years, it's obviously very difficult to go back to what it was before. And I don't know what the solution is, and I don't envy Niantic at all trying to figure it out, because obviously they've made some not very favorable decisions thus far. And at this point, I think I'm just rambling, but I don't know. What do you think? What can they do? What can they do to bring communities back together in person without taking more away from us, without going back to a less accessible version of the game. You know, I'd love to bring feedback to Niantic, and I just want to remind everyone that that is something that we do get to do very regularly. We are doing that very regularly. But I also just want to make sure everyone keeps their expectations in check, and just keep in mind that, like, just because we as community leaders, as the YouTubers, as whoever, get to share feedback with Niantic, we don't have any control over how that feedback is received and where it goes from there. All we can do is say what we feel and relay messages on behalf of the community, but we don't actually have any power to make decisions about the game. I don't know what the solution is. I don't think the biggest problem is 6-hour community days. I really think it's remote raiding. And I know a lot of people are going to have mixed feelings, mixed emotions about that as well. So drop a comment. Let me know how you feel. And stay tuned. Beautiful, beautiful video coming tomorrow. I think you're really going to enjoy it. See you then.
Bye.